Welcome to This Week in Washington for September the 30th, 2011. This has been a very interesting week for me, since I've had the ability to participate in both the annual meeting of the Dakota Transit Association that was held in Grand Forks this year, and at the 40th anniversary of the founding of OATS in Columbia, Missouri. These two events remind me of how great and lucky we are to have such talented men and women engaged in operating community and public transportation in every corner of the United States. I was especially reminded of this by the people I talked to who are really old friends in the Dakotas, sharing their stories about the important work they do in the communities they call home, especially in their major efforts to help their fellow citizens cope with the enormous problems in meeting the healthcare transportation needs in rural communities. And of course, not only did I have that same opportunity at OATS, especially with the fine staff that Linda Yeager and her organization have working, but also with approximately 800 OATS volunteers who were attending with me that annual dinner. Between these two events, we also see why it is so important for us to be successful in our efforts to create the legislative and political support we will need to maintain our services and the services provided by our friends in the Dakotas and, of course, by OATS in the growing needs of an older population that really needs more mobility choices. It's hard to imagine how, after listening to what I heard from our friends in the Dakotas as well as at OATS, how any, shall we say, lucid individual in Congress could possibly think that these important services are either a luxury or something that we cannot afford to provide in this time. Nothing is more interesting than the first-hand comments of people about their services. I spoke to several people, some over the age of 80, some and mostly between 70 and 80, who talked to me about how important and how their service through OATS was the only way that they were able to maintain their health care and stay at home. For a generation, we have challenged people in Washington by reminding them that often our services stand between seniors and long-term nursing care, or we stand between seniors being able to live at home or being forced to relocate. All of the things that I've spoken about to you in particular about outpatient medicine and the changes in our healthcare programs, which are designed to create greater outpatient service, comes better into focus when you talk to individuals who will tell you that without community and public transit, without rural public transit, there is no opportunity for them to continue living a kind of life they would choose. I also had the opportunity to visit with a few communities where we have larger transit services this week, and in theirs the same message is the truth. This week, you've probably also seen the rollout of this most recent issue of Digital CT magazine, which is built around the theory telling the truth about transit. As I said to our friends in the Dakotas, it is important for us to remember that telling the truth about the important things that we do in community transportation is not lobbying. and that telling the truth because you have knowledge, a special knowledge about the meaning of our services and what would happen if they were lost, is vital to the arguments that have to be made between now and the next time Congress takes up our important issues, which should be shortly after this break. This week, we've also seen continued progress in discussion about the important role that transportation plays in helping our country create jobs, not only by the spending that occurs in highways, but also by the spending and services provided by transit. Everyone has a way that they can help remind their elected officials of that. And as we've reminded people of this, especially in the run-up to this digital CT issue, I want to make a special request to all of you who are listening to this, who are members of our board of directors. Board members in particular, who represent the kinds of people that our services provide this important network, also need to be heard. And I would ask all of you this coming week to take a minute and address yourselves to these issues by writing to both United States senators in your state and to President Obama, affirming the important role that community transportation plays in the vital services of helping Americans not just go to work, but go to the doctor. And although you know, I usually don't ask people to write about specific programs, I think it would be very good if you wrote in your letters to these three individuals that these are public transit programs, and you may know them better as the 5307, the 5309, the 5310, and the 5311 program. These numbers stand for other kinds of numbers, and that are the numbers of men and women who need these services to survive in these difficult times of economic uncertainty and huge and somewhat difficult changes in the healthcare field. Now is a good time to do that, and I promise you that I'll be doing that too, having had the opportunity to be with our people who are doing this great work in the country. So in closing today, I want to particularly thank Barb Klein for asking me to join the Dakota Transit Association this week for their meeting. And I especially want to thank Linda Yeager for asking me to be at this important anniversary at Oates this week. Thank you for reminding me of the real people who rely on us to help them find a safe journey to some destination that's important and a safe journey home. So thanks to all of you. Try to do that letter next week. I'll be in touch soon, and feel free to contact me if you need to for any reason. Thanks, and have a great weekend. And keep on doing what you're doing in support of our wonderful and fine network of great people that make community transportation so important in the lives of so many.